Hi, good morning. I'm Kayla Francis, and I will be doing an interview for today.
Hi, Kayla. Nice to talk to you again. I know we were just chatting just now.
Yeah. So, my first question I have for you today is, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer?
When did I first know I wanted to be a writer? Very, very early. I was actually 8 years old when I wrote my first book.
Wow.
I don't even know who told me that I could write a book. I just took it upon myself to write a book. It was an encyclopedia, and I actually binded the book by hand. So it was a hand-bound book.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, and my mom took it and showed it to all her friends at work and everybody in the neighborhood. So, I felt a lot of pride about writing a book. So, yeah, very early on in life.
That's really cool. To
Do
be
you want to be a
honest,
writer?
no, I like reading more than writing. I know it's kind of weird, but I like reading more writing because I like how people write stories. I don't say my writing is the best, but I enjoy reading a lot, a lot.
Yes. Well, we need readers and writers, right? Without
Yeah,
readers, writers don't really have anybody to read their books, right? And
yeah.
when you start off writing, you're never really good. I started off really, really bad. My writing was horrible when I started. So who knows? Maybe you will start writing sometime and you like it, and maybe you'll be a writer one day. But being a reader is great too.
We'll see what the future holds.
Yes.
Well, um, my second question is, what inspired you to write the Wonder of the World book, World Leaf book?
What inspired me to write the book? Well, that's a really long story, so I'll try to make it short. So about 8 years ago, I was living in Philadelphia in America, and I was very homesick, and I was also sick. And so, I decided I was going to take a trip home to Trinidad. So I came home for 3 months. And while I was here, my mom took me to a wellness center, right? So that's a place you go and, there are really interesting treatments that you can get to make yourself better. And so at the wellness center, I learned about this plant called the Wonder of the World. I had known about it before, but I hadn't known about all of the medicinal uses of it. And so that's when I started to learn about the Wonder of the World and all the great things it can do for you. And yeah, and I had this image in my head that came to me as this little girl, and she kept bothering me as I see, she appeared in my imagination and she wouldn't go away. And so I realized, well, she has a story to tell me. And so she told me her story, and I faithfully wrote it down. And that's how the Wonderful World came to be.
That's amazing. I learned about the Wonder of the World leaf during I got an injury on my knee, and I started using the Wonder of the World leaf from my mom. She told me about it, and it was I had no idea what it was until my
Right.
mom explained it, and I actually thought it was like a miracle healing magic thing when I was younger.
You
So
thought you were
yeah,
going to put it on and be miraculously healed in an hour?
yeah.
Well, a lot of wonderful things and miraculous things, they don't quite work like that. But um, I'm happy that you had that experience because, a lot of people aren't aware of the wonder of the world and what it can do. So your mom is really cool for doing that.
And your book might inspire some children to realize what it can do, and your book might help people understand a little bit more in a little fun way.
Right. Well, thank you for saying that. That's exactly why I wrote it, because I want children to know about the traditional medicinal practices of Trinidad and Tobago. And I also want them to know that if they get sick or if they're feeling down or someone they love gets sick, that there's something that they can do, right? They don't have to sit around and kind of wallow. There's always something you can do to show people that you care about them, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever had that experience? Have
Yes,
you
I
reached
did.
out and helped someone?
Yes. Well, actually, multiple occasions.
Well, that's great, Kayla. We need more kids like you,
I can agree on that.
right?
The question is, how long did it take for you to write the book, The Wonder of the World Leaf?
Again, I wrote the book 8 years ago, and the first time I put the words down on paper, it probably took me a day, right? Because it's a pretty short book. It's about, well, when I wrote it, it was about 1,500 words, and I had to cut it down because what happens when you work with a publisher is they have word limits, and so you have to make the story fit within the word limit. So I had to cut down the book when I eventually worked with the publisher. But over the course of 8 years, the book went through many, many revisions. So I rewrote the story many times. I workshopped it. I read it to kids and got feedback. And so the story kind of evolved and changed a lot. So there was a lot of writing and rewriting involved. And that's usually the case when you write a book.
Oh, well, you put a lot of hard work into it.
Yes, I did. I did.
It shows, and it's really, really good.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you enjoyed the book, Kayla. I'm really happy to hear.
Yeah. My first question is, how many books have you written?
How many books have I written for kids?
Yes.
I've written 6 books for children. This is my first book. So this book came out in April 2021. And I have 6 more books well, one of them has come out already. It's called Renaissance Man. And it's a biography about Jeffrey Holder, who is a very prominent cultural figure from Trinidad and Tobago. And I have 5 more books coming out next year. So I can definitely keep you abreast of them and when they come out, because I'd like to hear what you think about those.
Yeah, and I'll look out for them when they come out. I'll see if I could get the hard copy about it and start to read it. Okay, I have a lot of books up there in hard copy.
I've been watching them. I see. Those are what, school books or books that you read?
No, reading books. I have some Nancy Drew, Diary of Wimpy Kid, and there's a book about dragons called The Wings of Fire.
The Wings of Fire?
Yes.
Okay, very eclectic group of books there.
Where do you actually get your information about your books, your inspiration?
Inspiration comes from many sources, right? Sometimes it's something that's happened to me, as was the case with this book when I was sick in Philadelphia. Sometimes it's something that happens to somebody I know, right? I love to listen to other people's stories. I love to eavesdrop. Do you like to eavesdrop?
Kind of, yes.
Right.
I sell up my secrets.
Right? Yes. Eavesdropping provides you with great material if you're a writer. Inspiration comes from reading other books. I read a lot, just like you. I'm a reader as well. And so the more I read, the more ideas I get for stories. But the thing that I always tell young writers is that you don't always have to wait for inspiration, right? It's not a light bulb that strikes you and suddenly you have this great idea. Sometimes you just sit in front of the computer and you write. You don't really know what you're writing about or where the story is going. But you just commit to it and eventually something comes out and starts to shape itself into a story. So yeah.
That might inspire some people to get the pencils and start writing some stories. Because when I first started writing, to be honest, I don't like it. A little bit, it sounds a little bit weird when you say you like reading and you don't really like writing. But when I started writing about things like I knew like my experiences, like I don't have a lot of experience because I'm still young, and I write about some few experiences. It actually seems nice to like write it down on paper and express yourself and put in things.
Yes. So what is it about writing you don't like?
I don't like how it is be rushed sometimes in school. I write few stories like without the school timer. And it's actually been nice because I am a very, very slow person.
Okay. You don't like being rushed. That's a really
No.
good that's a really interesting thing that you said there because to write sometimes you just need time and you need quiet and you need to be in a calm space and a lot of the times in schools you don't really get that experience, but hopefully you can make your own space to write, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like you're already doing that. So that's great.
What do you think makes a good storybook? Well, a good story.
What makes a good story? I guess that depends on who you ask, right? Different readers want different experiences from books. Some people want a book to be funny so they can have a good laugh. Some people want a book to inform them about facts and history and things that happen in real life. And then some people just want a book that they can relate to emotionally, something that might make them cry or make them feel a connection to the characters, make them think. So there are many reasons why people write, and there are many things that make a good story, right? For me, what I try to do is to write stories that come from the heart, that come from a genuine and authentic place, and stories that also reflect my experiences as a Trinidadian person, as a Caribbean person, as a Black person, as a woman, right? I want to kind of put all of myself into my stories, and I think that when stories are really authentic like that, that makes them really, really powerful.
Nice. And I actually enjoy those type of books that goes on experience about helping people, like your book. I really enjoyed that how Gina helped her grandmother with the Wonder of the Will Leaf. And there's a few other books that are like about helping people that you love and doing different things like that.
Right. Okay. Yes. I mean, a lot of books for children are like that, right? They want to teach children and help children understand how to be good people. So you find a lot of children's books like that.